Imagine a world where pixels come to life and virtual realms become your reality. Well, hold on to your controllers because the moment we've all been waiting for has arrived, the grand unveiling of the PlayStation 5 Pro. A sleek, mysterious console emerges from the shadows, promising to redefine the very essence of gaming. The air is charged with anticipation as the curtain lifts, revealing a powerhouse that's set to elevate your gaming experience to unprecedented heights. This isn't just an upgrade, it's a quantum leap into the future of gaming. Rumors of a PlayStation 5 Pro persist, and while the powered-up version of the current PlayStation 5 console has not been officially confirmed by Sony, one reliable insider has claimed it's 100% in development, and the online whispers refuse to quieten down. A PlayStation 5 Pro would make even more sense as a form of stopgap between the PlayStation 5 and what we'll dub the PlayStation 6. That's because, in legal documents pertaining to the battle between Microsoft and the FTC over the former's acquisition of Activision Blizzard, IGN found that Microsoft doesn't expect a next-generation PlayStation or Xbox until 2028. So a mid-generation refresh would seem logical given the potential length of this current generation of game consoles. We expect the PlayStation 5 Pro will follow the lead of its precursor, the PlayStation 4 Pro. Essentially, this was a more powerful version of the base PlayStation 4 console. It packed the same DualShock 4 controller and library of games, but was capable of increased performance and targeted 4K resolution on select titles. It was a console designed for gamers who wanted that little bit of extra power to enjoy PlayStation gaming at its very best. The PlayStation 5 Pro would presumably do the same thing by building upon the foundations of the current PlayStation 5 with refreshed internal components and perhaps a visual redesign as well. But remember, it'll be an iteration of the existing PlayStation 5 hardware, not a full-fledged successor. This is not the PlayStation 6. Naturally, as the PlayStation 5 Pro has yet to be confirmed in any sort of official capacity, all we have to go off is rumors and a healthy dose of informed speculation. But for now, here's everything we think we know about the PlayStation 5 Pro. Last spring, the PlayStation 5 Pro was tipped to launch sometime this year. This would line up with the 3-year gap we saw between the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro, but more recent rumors have poured cold water on the idea that we're mere months away from the rumored console launching. Most recently, a leak of information pointed towards a September 2024 release window, as confirmed by Jeff Grubb on his podcast. Another prediction comes from Tom Henderson of Insider Gaming, who has repeatedly suggested that the PlayStation 5 Pro will launch in November 2024 as part of Sony's ambitious upcoming hardware lineup that will also include a revised standard PlayStation 5 model and a new handheld device centered around the console's remote play feature. Henderson's assertion that we'll have to wait until next year for the PlayStation 5 Pro has been backed by additional sources suggesting a 2024 release date is most likely. Plus, another leaker has claimed the PlayStation 5 Pro and the Nintendo Switch 2 will share a launch window. And as Nintendo has effectively ruled out any new hardware in 2023, that would place the PlayStation 5 Pro launch outside of the next 7 or so months. In May of this year, Sony held its latest PlayStation Showcase event, and there was no sign of the PlayStation 5 Pro at all. This would definitely suggest that official news on the rumored console is not imminent. But at least the showcase was an excellent presentation of some brilliant-looking PlayStation 5 games. When it comes to price, there's precious little out there to even give us an indication of how much we need to save up ahead of time. At release in 2016, the PlayStation 4 Pro cost $399. This was the same price the base PlayStation 4 had launched for 3 years earlier. Of course, 3 years into the PlayStation 4 lifecycle, the console had already received a price cut, which hasn't happened for the PlayStation 5. If the PlayStation 5 Pro was to follow the trend of the last generation, it would launch for $499. However, don't be surprised if the PlayStation 5 Pro is pitched at an even higher cost, maybe even $599. Sony proved with the PSVR 2, it's not afraid to charge a premium price for new hardware, so you might want to start saving those pennies as soon as possible because the PlayStation 5 Pro could be one expensive console. When it comes to the PlayStation 5 Pro specs, 2 words keep cropping up: 8K and ray tracing. We would expect these to be the 2 areas that Sony attempts to target with any form of revised PlayStation 5 hardware. YouTuber Moore's Law is Dead has predicted that the PlayStation 5 Pro will be positioned as an 8K console to go hand in hand with Sony's 8K TVs. While the current PlayStation 5 does claim to have 8K capacities, we've seen very few games run at that resolution on the hardware, and none of them are the most graphically demanding titles on the console. By the end of this year or early next year, there should be new AMD chips available for Sony to make use of in its next hardware. The base PlayStation 5 currently uses an AMD Zen 2-based processor and RDNA 2 graphics on a custom chipset, but the PlayStation 5 Pro may instead sport a refreshed Ryzen APU, as suggested by Paul Eccleston of Red Gaming Tech. Like other recent Ryzen APUs, the one in the PlayStation 5 Pro may even include an NPU that, according to rumors, could be used to accelerate Sony's proprietary machine learning-powered upscaling technique. More recently, the YouTuber has released an alleged spec sheet that suggests the PlayStation 5 Pro's process could hit speeds well over 3.6 GHz. In terms of graphics power, the GPU will reportedly be clocked at 2.7 GHz, which is a bump on the 2.2 GHz of the PlayStation 5's current graphics processor. The same source claims the total compute power of the PlayStation 5 Pro will be around 23 teraflops, which is more than the regular PlayStation 5's 10.28 flops and the 12 flops of the Xbox Series X. According to Paul's source, a revised PlayStation 5 console would also aim to offer significantly stronger ray tracing performance. Ray tracing has become a bit of a marketing buzzword in recent months, but it's essentially a rendering technique that produces more realistic lighting effects. Tom Henderson also suggests that the PlayStation 5 Pro will have a strong focus on ray tracing, and that legendary PlayStation console architect Mark Cerny is involved in the creation of the hardware. A more recent leak from Henderson points to the PlayStation 5 Pro packing an upgraded CPU and RAM, 18,000 metric tons as memory, and 32 GB. He goes on to say the upgraded system will target more consistent frame rates at 4K resolution, feature a new top-of-the-line performance mode for 8K resolution, and sport accelerated ray tracing. Henderson also suggests that a full PlayStation 5 Pro spec leak is imminent now that Sony has started sending out dev kits to third-party studios. Another report from Red Gaming Tech suggests the PlayStation 5 Pro will boast an impressive GPU upgrade, but the almost archaic Zen 2 CPU is only getting an improved clock speed. No update to the latest Zen 4 CPU standard, and no additional cores either. This could kill off the chances of us seeing the big benefits of those additional 24 compute units of graphical prowess. Adding in our own speculation, there's been a big push for player choice this console generation, with many PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X games offering either a performance or quality mode. The former typically targets a higher frame rate, the latter a better resolution. It seems likely that the PlayStation 5 Pro would build upon this. We don't expect a console that would be capable of running the best PlayStation 5 games in 8K at 120 Fps with full ray tracing enabled, but instead, players may be able to further choose which elements are most important to them. We think it's highly unlikely that the PlayStation 5 Pro will offer any exclusive features. As discussed above, it will likely boast more powerful internal components, but we don't expect its upgrades will extend further into exclusive features or games. However, most interestingly, these new improved elements will help fuel Sony's proprietary version of NVIDIA's DLSS frame generation tech, which could see 4K frame rates go up to 120 Fps. The PlayStation 5 Pro is pretty much guaranteed to play all the same games as the PlayStation 5, and the current DualSense controller will almost certainly be the primary way you interact with the console. There is perhaps a possibility that the PlayStation 5 Pro will come packing the high-end DualSense Edge controller, but we wouldn't bet on it, as Sony likely wants to sell that premium $199 accessory separately to the most passionate PlayStation players. It's also been theorized that the PlayStation 5 Pro will work in harmony with the recently released PSVR 2 headset. This would make sense, as virtual reality is clearly an area of great interest for Sony, and we expect its latest VR device will be supported for many years to come. There is a reasonable chance that PSVR 2 will also be able to take advantage of the increased power of the PlayStation 5 Pro for improved performance levels or sharper visuals. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like if you're as hyped as we are, and don't forget to ring that notification bell to stay in the loop. Your comments are our fuel, so drop your thoughts below. Are you team PlayStation 5 Pro, or are you still holding out? What features are you most excited about?